Why are you struggling so much and nothing happens? Napoleon Hill reveals the hidden path. You have been taught since childhood that effort is the golden rule, that the more you push, the more you will gain, that the path to success is paved with sacrifice, sleepless nights, and the relentless grind of never stopping. But what if that belief, drilled into you so deeply, is the very thing keeping you trapped? What if effort, when misdirected, does not bring you closer to your destiny, but drags you further away from it? This is the cruel illusion that countless people live in, a prison made not of bars but of belief, where the harder you try, the heavier life becomes. You work harder, you sweat more, you sacrifice, and yet the reward seems to vanish into the distance, like a horizon that recedes every time you take a step forward. You confuse motion with progress, but inside you know that despite all the noise of your struggle, you are stuck in the same place. The illusion of effort is seductive because it makes you feel in control. When you are exhausted at the end of the day, you tell yourself that at least you tried, at least you are doing something. But effort without direction is like rowing endlessly in circles. You feel movement, but you do not advance. And when weeks turn into months and months into years, you begin to realize that perhaps movement without progress is worse than stillness, because it robs you of energy, hope, and clarity. This is why Napoleon Hill warned so often that desire without a clear plan is wasted, and persistence without vision is a trap. It is not that effort is bad. It is that effort in the wrong place, effort born of fear, doubt, or desperation, is like pouring water into a broken vessel. No matter how much you give, it will never fill. Think about the people you have seen who seem to work endlessly, yet remain in the same financial situation, the same relationships, the same inner turmoil. They push, they grind, they hustle, but nothing truly shifts. And then look at those who appear to move effortlessly, as though opportunities fall into their hands and doors open in their presence. Do you really believe that the difference between them is how many hours they worked, how much sweat they poured into their days? Or could it be that one group is aligned with invisible laws that turn effort into momentum, while the other is trapped in an illusion that effort itself is the goal? Hill revealed that effort must be fused with belief, vision, and faith. Otherwise it becomes slavery. He showed us that the mind is the true lever, and that without using it, physical effort becomes meaningless repetition. The illusion of effort feeds on your fear of stillness. You are afraid to stop because you think that stopping means failure, when in truth it is often in stopping that clarity comes. The mind that never pauses cannot see the hidden path, cannot hear the whisper of intuition, cannot align itself with the deeper forces that actually shape reality. Physics itself tells us that energy flows where attention goes. And if all your attention is on struggle, on fighting, on survival, then your reality will continue to reflect that. You do not attract abundance by obsessing over lack, and you do not attract success by focusing on struggle. You attract what you are, what you think, what you vibrate. That is why Hill emphasized the role of thought and belief above all else. He did not glorify effort for its own sake. He revealed that effort must be guided by the mind, by desire, by a clear and burning purpose. Pause for a moment and ask yourself, how much of your struggle has been guided by clarity, and how much has been blind movement? How many times have you fought battles that were not even yours to fight, simply because you thought struggle was proof of your worth? That is the illusion unraveling right before your eyes. Struggle is not a sign of destiny. It is often a sign of misalignment. True destiny does not drain you. It pulls you forward with a force greater than exhaustion. When you are aligned, effort still exists, but it feels different. It feels lighter. It feels meaningful. It builds you instead of breaking you. That is the difference between the illusion of effort and the reality of flow. Understand this and everything changes. Success was never about how hard you work, it was about how aligned you are. You can keep fighting, keep pushing, keep convincing yourself that one more sacrifice will open the door, or you can step back and realize that the real key is not force but alignment. The path will not reveal itself to those who exhaust themselves in the wrong direction, but to those who quiet the illusion and begin to see with clarity. That is where Hill's hidden path begins, not in glorifying the grind, but in breaking free from it, and stepping into a higher law that turns effort into expression and struggle into flow. There is a force you cannot see, yet it governs almost every outcome in your life. It is not the government, not society, not even luck. It is something much closer, hidden inside your own mind. You wake up every day believing you are in control, that if you just think harder, plan better, or grind more relentlessly, things will finally work. But what if the real reason nothing changes is not because of what you are doing, but because of what is silently happening beneath the surface? What if an invisible mechanism is running your life, repeating the same patterns, keeping you locked in the same results no matter how much effort you invest? That mechanism is your subconscious mind, and unless you learn how to master it, it will sabotage you in ways you cannot even imagine. Napoleon Hill pointed out that the subconscious is like a fertile field, constantly absorbing the seeds you plant. But here is the trap. Most people are planting seeds of doubt, fear, and limitation without even realizing it. They go through life convinced they are working toward success, but their inner dialogue is filled with thoughts of failure. They speak of wanting abundance, but inside, they believe they are undeserving. They claim they want freedom, but deep down they are afraid of losing security. And so the subconscious does what it always does. It takes those hidden beliefs and turns them into reality, faithfully reflecting the true vibration you carry, not the words you say. This is why so many struggle endlessly. Outwardly, they are striving for progress, but inwardly, they are programmed for resistance. You may not realize it, but every time you tell yourself that things never work out for you, every time you imagine the worst possible outcome, every time you replay the failures of the past, you are strengthening the invisible mechanism that holds you back. It is like trying to drive with one foot on the accelerator and the other pressed firmly on the brake. You wonder why you are not moving forward, when in truth you are the one keeping yourself in place. And here is the cruel irony. The harder you push against life, the stronger the subconscious resists, because it is built to preserve the reality you believe in most. This is why Hill insisted that faith and belief are not optional luxuries, but the very foundation of transformation. Without reprogramming the subconscious, no amount of conscious effort will ever free you. Think of your subconscious as the architect of your destiny. It does not argue, it does not debate, it simply builds based on the blueprint you give it. If your blueprint is filled with struggle, then it will design a life of endless struggle. If your blueprint is saturated with scarcity, then scarcity will surround you no matter how much money you earn. If your blueprint is rooted in fear, then life will hand you reasons to remain afraid. And yet if you learn to plant seeds of belief, clarity, and desire, the same mechanism that once sabotaged you becomes the force that lifts you higher than you ever imagined. This is what Hill meant when he wrote that, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. The subconscious cannot reject what is consistently impressed upon it. It must bring it to life. Now, pause and reflect. How many of your struggles have been born not from the world outside, but from the world inside? How many times have you been on the edge of breakthrough, only to sabotage yourself with hesitation, doubt, or fear? How many times have you allowed old voices, old failures, old limitations to speak louder than your vision? This invisible mechanism is not your enemy. It is simply following orders. It mirrors back to you the beliefs you hold as truth. If you want to change your life, you must first change the orders you are giving to the mind beneath the surface. You must become aware of the seeds you are planting, because the harvest is inevitable. This is where the true power lies. Hill showed us that success is never created on the surface. It is born in the unseen. It is conceived in the imagination, nurtured in faith, and executed through aligned action. The subconscious is the bridge between thought and reality, between desire and manifestation. Ignore it, and you will remain trapped in the same cycles, no matter how hard you fight. Master it, and life itself begins to bend in your favor. The invisible mechanism that once sabotaged you becomes the very engine of your transformation. That is why some people seem to attract success as if it were effortless, while others fight for decades with nothing to show. It is not luck. It is not chance. It is the law of mind, and it is unbreakable. The question you must ask yourself now is simple. What orders are you giving to the invisible mechanism within you? Because it will obey. It always obeys. And the reality you live tomorrow will be nothing more and nothing less than the reflection of the seeds you plant today. Every struggle, every sleepless night, every unanswered prayer leaves you wondering if life is simply against you, if destiny itself has chosen to deny you the peace and success you crave. But what if the truth is not that life is against you, but that you have been walking down a path that was never meant to lead you to where you want to go? What if, all along, there has been another road, invisible to most, waiting in silence for the few who dare to search beyond appearances? Napoleon Hill called it the hidden path, and it is the thread that connects desire to fulfillment, thought to reality, struggle to transformation. Most people never find it because they are too busy forcing doors that were never theirs to open. They mistake noise for progress, chaos for momentum, and in their blindness they miss the simple yet profound truth. Success is never chased, it is aligned with. The hidden path begins where effort surrenders and vision awakens. It does not demand that you stop working, but it demands that your work be born from a different state of mind. Hill explained that desire is the starting point of all achievement, but not desire as a passing wish, not desire polluted with doubt, but desire so clear, so burning, that it reshapes the subconscious and becomes the blueprint of your future. When this desire is fused with faith, a door opens, and life begins to move in ways that appear almost supernatural. You start meeting the right people at the right time. Opportunities begin to surface where none existed before. Coincidences become too precise to be accidents. That is the hidden path in action, a current of invisible law carrying you toward what was once unreachable. Think about the times in your life when you felt pulled rather than pushed, when you were not grinding through resistance but flowing with momentum. Those moments were not accidents. They were glimpses of what alignment feels like, proof that reality bends when you step into harmony with it. Hill discovered that every person who achieved extraordinary success had tapped into this current, consciously or not. They had moved beyond the illusion that hard work alone was enough, and instead they harnessed the power of focused thought, unwavering belief, and the ability to hold their vision so strongly that it magnetized their reality. This is not wishful thinking. This is not empty philosophy. It is the way the mind interacts with the universe, the same way gravity pulls objects toward the earth. Invisible, undeniable, unbreakable. The hidden path requires you to stop asking, "What must I do more of?" and start asking, "Who must I become?" Because the truth is, reality does not respond to your effort, it responds to your state of being. If you vibrate fear, you will meet circumstances that justify your fear. If you vibrate doubt, you will encounter endless reasons to doubt. But if you hold a state of certainty, if you live inside the assumption that your vision is already real, then the world begins to rearrange itself around that truth. This is what Hill meant when he wrote that faith is the eternal elixir, the element that gives life, power, and action to the impulse of thought. Without it, the subconscious builds walls. With it, the subconscious builds bridges. And here is where most people fail. They want proof before they believe. They want results before they commit. They want the reward before the faith. But the hidden path does not work that way. It is only revealed to those who dare to walk it blind, who dare to believe before the evidence appears, who dare to plant seeds in the unseen and trust that the harvest will come. This is the paradox that separates the few who transcend struggle from the many who remain bound to it. Hill knew this because he spent his life studying the greatest minds of his time, and he saw the same pattern repeat itself over and over. They were not the strongest, not the fastest, not even always the smartest. They were simply those who found the hidden path and never let go of it. Now ask yourself honestly, are you still trying to batter down the wrong doors? Or are you willing to let go of the illusion and step onto the path that has been waiting for you all along? Because the truth is, the hidden path is not somewhere out there. It is within you. It is unlocked the moment you decide to align your thoughts, your beliefs, and your actions with the reality you seek, not the reality you fear. And once you step onto it, you will never again see struggle the same way. You will realize that it was never meant to break you. It was meant to guide you here to this revelation, to the truth that you were never lost. You were simply looking in the wrong direction. The hidden path was always beneath your feet, waiting for you to recognize it. You have heard it said that thoughts create reality, but perhaps you dismissed it as philosophy, as something abstract that could never truly explain why life unfolds the way it does. Yet when you look closely, even science begins to whisper the same truth in a different language. Physics has shown us that reality is not as solid as it seems, that beneath the surface of everything lies energy, vibration, and possibility. What Napoleon Hill called the law of success, modern thinkers call quantum law, the principle that observation, intention, and belief collapse infinite possibilities into a single lived experience. This is not superstition. It is the hidden architecture of existence, and when you understand it, you realize that the key to transforming your life is not locked in the external world, but encoded in the frequency of your mind. Think about it. Every time you hold a thought, every time you imagine a future, every time you feel an emotion deeply, you are tuning yourself like an instrument. You are radiating a signal into the unseen field, and that signal attracts circumstances, people, and events that harmonize with it. If your signal is filled with fear, you draw more reasons to be afraid. If your signal is saturated with lack, you encounter more absence. But if your signal vibrates with faith, with certainty, with gratitude for a reality not yet seen but already believed, then the field bends, and reality begins to arrange itself to match that vibration. Hill understood this long before physics gave it language. He knew that desire, faith, and visualization were not just mental games, but the very tools by which human beings co-create their destinies. The quantum key is not effort, it is coherence. It is when your thoughts, emotions, and actions are aligned so deeply that there is no conflict between what you say you want and what you truly believe. Most people sabotage themselves because they speak of success while vibrating with doubt. They dream of abundance while carrying the weight of fear. They hope for change while secretly expecting disappointment. And so the field reflects back exactly what they are, not what they claim to desire. This is why so many grind for years without breaking through, while others seem to step effortlessly into opportunities that defy logic. The difference is not chance. The difference is vibration. Imagine your mind as a projector, casting images onto the screen of reality. Whatever film you place inside will be the movie you watch. You cannot place a reel of failure and expect the projection of success. You cannot carry the frequency of fear and expect the experience of freedom. This is the essence of the quantum key. Change the reel, and the movie changes. Shift the vibration, and reality must shift with it. Hill's timeless lesson, that whatever the mind can conceive and believe it can achieve, is not poetic exaggeration. It is the recognition that the mind is the gateway through which infinite potential becomes tangible experience. And yet, here lies the challenge. To use the quantum key, you must first silence the noise of your old programming. You must stop feeding your subconscious with the language of defeat. You must learn to dwell in the state of the wish fulfilled, to see and feel the end before it arrives, to embody the version of yourself who already lives in the reality you seek. This is not pretending. It is rehearsing the future into existence. When you do this with consistency and faith, the subconscious accepts it as truth. The vibration shifts, and the field responds. What once seemed impossible begins to appear naturally, almost effortlessly, as though the universe itself was conspiring in your favor. Ask yourself now, what are you projecting? What signal are you broadcasting into the field? Because life is not random. It is a mirror echoing back to you the frequency you carry within. If you change the frequency, the reflection must change. This is why the quantum key is not about forcing life, but about aligning with it. It is not about chasing results, but about becoming the person who naturally attracts them. Hill left us the map, and physics has confirmed the law. The universe is not solid, it is fluid, and your mind is the hand that shapes it. The quantum key is in your hands. The question is whether you will continue to live as though reality is fixed and cruel, or whether you will dare to step into the awareness that you are far more powerful than you ever imagined. Because once you turn that key, once you align thought, belief, and action into coherence, struggle ceases to be your master. Life itself becomes your ally, and the hidden path becomes illuminated with opportunities that were always there, waiting for you to finally see them. All along you believed the battle was against the world, against circumstances, against people who seemed to hold more power or opportunity than you. You thought your enemy was time, money, or even fate itself. But the truth, the final revelation, is far more unsettling and far more liberating. The struggle was never outside. It was always within. Every obstacle, every closed door, every disappointment was only reflecting the patterns, the vibrations, and the beliefs that lived inside you. Life has been nothing more than a mirror, showing you who you truly are beneath the surface. And once you understand this, once you see that the true battlefield is the inner world, you can no longer live the same way. You realize that victory was never about conquering others, but about mastering yourself. Napoleon Hill's words, repeated for nearly a century, now take on a new weight. When he said that whatever the mind can conceive and believe it can achieve, he was not offering motivation. He was revealing law. Law as unbreakable as gravity. Law that does not bend to excuses or circumstances. Conceive it with clarity, believe it with certainty, and your subconscious will begin to align your vibration with that vision, turning thought into reality. But if you conceive fear, if you believe in doubt, then the same law will work against you with ruthless precision. This is the paradox. You are already a master of manifestation. You have been manifesting all along. The question is not whether you can do it, but whether you will do it consciously or continue to let unconscious patterns dictate your fate. The final revelation is that you are not powerless. You are not unlucky. You are not cursed. You are simply living out the script you accepted, the blueprint you never questioned. And the moment you decide to rewrite that script, everything changes. The struggle dissolves because the mirror begins to reflect something new. You no longer attract resistance because you no longer vibrate resistance. You no longer sabotage your progress because your subconscious is finally aligned with your conscious desires. This is the freedom Hill spoke of, the hidden path he pointed toward, the ultimate liberation. To live as the conscious creator of your life instead of the unconscious victim of your past. But do not mistake this revelation for an end. It is only the beginning, because knowing the truth and living the truth are not the same. To live it, you must train yourself daily to hold your vision, to discipline your thoughts, to guard your subconscious against the seeds of fear and doubt that the world will try to plant. You must feed your mind with belief, rehearse your success in advance, and act as though what you desire is already yours. This is not fantasy. It is the discipline of reality creation. The same discipline that has carried leaders, creators, and visionaries throughout history into lives that defied logic. They were not chosen by chance. They chose themselves by aligning with the laws that govern life itself. So now the question turns back to you. Will you continue to struggle, to fight battles that were never yours, to exhaust yourself against locked doors? Or will you step fully onto the hidden path, take hold of the quantum key, and live the final revelation that your life bends to your belief? Because in this very moment, the power to transform is already within you. It does not wait for tomorrow. It does not require permission. It responds instantly to the state you decide to embody. And if you choose alignment, if you choose faith, if you choose to believe more in your vision than in your fear, then nothing can stand against you. Not because the world has changed, but because you have. This is the last truth Hill wanted you to see. That success is not a destination, it is a state of consciousness. And when you live from that state, the struggle ends, not because life becomes easy, but because you finally understand that you were never meant to fight the current. You were meant to flow with it. You were meant to stop forcing and start becoming. And in that becoming, the doors that once resisted you swing open. The opportunities that once seemed impossible appear. And the reality you once dreamed of becomes the life you wake up to. That is the final revelation. That is the hidden path uncovered. And now, the choice is yours. You have reached the point where the truth is no longer hidden. You have seen the illusion of effort. You have uncovered the invisible mechanism of the subconscious. You have stepped onto the hidden path, and you have been handed the quantum key. Now comes the moment that will determine whether this knowledge remains just words or whether it becomes the force that reshapes your destiny. This is the call to transformation, the moment where you decide if you will continue to live as you always have, or step into the version of yourself that you have always been meant to become. And the difference is not measured in years or in circumstances. It is measured in one decision, one act of inner courage, one commitment to live in alignment rather than in resistance. Napoleon Hill never intended his words to be consumed like entertainment. He wrote them as instructions, as maps, as laws to be applied. Too many read his teachings, nod in agreement, and then return to the same cycles of struggle as if nothing has changed. But the ones who take it seriously, the ones who dare to embody the principles instead of merely admiring them, are the ones who rewrite their lives in ways that appear almost miraculous. Hill insisted that faith without action is dead, not action born of panic, not action born of desperation, but action born of alignment. Once you conceive, once you believe, you must step into the becoming of that vision, even if you cannot yet see the evidence with your physical eyes. That is the leap that separates those who talk from those who transform. This call is not asking you to abandon effort. It is asking you to abandon blind effort. It is not asking you to give up persistence. It is asking you to give up persistence without direction. It is not asking you to stop fighting. It is asking you to stop fighting against yourself. Because the moment you align with the laws Hill revealed, effort becomes lighter, persistence becomes joyful, and the fight transforms into flow. You stop trying to force doors open and start realizing that the right doors open the moment you become the person who belongs on the other side. This is transformation. Not a sudden miracle from outside, but a gradual becoming from within that eventually bends the outer world to your new state of being. And yet, there will always be doubt. Your old patterns will whisper that nothing is really changing, that you are still the same, that it is safer to stay where you are. The world will tempt you back into the illusion of effort, back into the noise of struggle, back into the cycles of fear and scarcity. But you must remember this revelation. The world is not stronger than your mind. Circumstances are not stronger than your vibration. The field responds to you, not the other way around. You are the cause, not the effect. And when you accept this truth, doubt loses its grip because you no longer look outside for proof. You create it from within. So here is the invitation. Look at your life as it is today. Ask yourself honestly, what am I still holding on to that belongs to the old path? What beliefs, what fears, what patterns still keep me chained to struggle? And then ask, who do I need to become to walk fully into alignment? Because the transformation does not begin when the world changes for you. It begins when you decide to change for the world you want. And once you embody that decision, life begins to conspire in your favor in ways that defy explanation. Opportunities emerge, synchronicities unfold. Strength you did not know you had rises within you. And suddenly, the struggle that once defined you becomes nothing more than a memory of who you used to be. This is your call to transformation. It is not tomorrow. It is not someday. It is now. Every thought you hold, every emotion you entertain, every belief you reinforce is casting the mold of your future. You can keep repeating the past, or you can create something new. You can stay chained to the illusion, or you can step into the freedom of alignment. The path is open, the key is in your hand, and the revelation is clear. What remains is the choice. And in the silence of that choice lies the power to change everything. Every great transformation begins with a decision, but it does not end there. The decision is the spark, the flame that lights the way forward, but the path itself is walked step by step, choice by choice, moment by moment. And now, standing at the edge of everything you have discovered, you face the most important invitation of all, the invitation to take the next step. Not tomorrow, not when things feel easier, not when you finally think you are ready, but now. Because life does not wait, and neither should you. The longer you hesitate, the more you feed the old patterns, the more you strengthen the illusion, the more you tell your subconscious that change is not urgent, and the subconscious, faithful servant that it is, will obey. If you delay, it will delay. If you stall, it will stall. But if you move, if you step forward with conviction, the entire field begins to move with you. Napoleon Hill knew this truth well. He watched countless people read his words and do nothing with them, treating them as inspiration rather than instruction. Inspiration fades, but action cements belief into reality. He insisted that faith without action is powerless, because action is the evidence of belief. You cannot claim to believe and remain frozen. Belief demands movement. Belief demands that you step into the version of yourself you have already conceived in your mind. The hidden path will not carry those who only dream of walking it. It carries those who dare to walk it blind, with faith as their guide, long before the destination is visible. Think about your own life. How many times have you felt the urge to change but silenced it with hesitation? How many times have you promised yourself that tomorrow you would start, only to find yourself repeating the same story again and again? That is the trap of delay, the comfort of the old path, the invisible chains that keep you tied to the life you say you no longer want. And yet, in the quiet of your soul, you know that everything you desire is waiting for you on the other side of action. The relationships, the abundance, the freedom, the peace, they are not beyond reach, they are simply beyond hesitation. The next step is the bridge, and you are the only one who can cross it. The invitation is simple but not easy. Begin now. Begin by claiming your vision, by speaking it as though it already exists, by living today in alignment with the person you want to become tomorrow. Begin by refusing to speak the language of failure and fear. Begin by acting on the opportunities already in front of you, however small they may seem. Do not wait for a perfect plan. The hidden path reveals itself as you walk it. Each step you take lights the next. Hill taught that clarity grows with movement, that doors open for those already in motion, that the universe bends for those who demonstrate faith through action. And you have reached the moment where the only thing left is to prove your belief with movement. This is not about grand gestures, it is about commitment. It is about waking up tomorrow and thinking, speaking and acting as though you are already aligned with the reality you desire. It is about showing your subconscious that the old program is over and a new one has begun. The invitation is not to achieve everything at once, but to begin becoming. To embody the person who no longer struggles, who no longer doubts, who no longer looks outside for permission. That person is already within you, waiting to be lived. The next step is how you release them. So ask yourself right now, will you take the step, or will you stay where you are? Will you feed the illusion, or will you walk the hidden path? Will you keep searching for reasons to delay, or will you decide that now is enough? Because the truth is this: life does not give second chances in the way you think. Time will keep passing whether you move or not. The only question is whether you will use that time to repeat the old story or to write a new one. The invitation has been placed before you. The door is open. The key is in your hand. The only thing left is your answer. Transformation does not happen in a single night, even though the decision can. The choice to change, the moment of awakening, the realization that the hidden path is real, those things can strike you in an instant, like lightning. But the building of a new life requires something far less glamorous and far more powerful: continuity. It is the steady pulse of commitment, the daily alignment of thought and action, the refusal to slip back into the old illusions even when they call you with familiar comfort. Continuity is the difference between a spark that dies in the wind and a fire that grows into an unstoppable force. And the truth is simple: without continuity, even the greatest revelation will fade back into memory. But with it, even the smallest step will grow into a revolution. Napoleon Hill warned against the danger of drifting, of allowing the mind to wander aimlessly back into habits that sabotage progress. He observed that most people fail not because they lack vision, but because they lack persistence of vision. They catch a glimpse of possibility. They feel the surge of motivation. But when resistance comes, when results do not appear instantly, they drift back to the old patterns that kept them trapped. Continuity is the antidote. Continuity is faith made visible, faith proven by repetition. It is choosing day after day to think, believe, and act as though your desire is already real, even when the evidence is not yet visible. Especially when the evidence is not yet visible, think of continuity as momentum. A single push can start movement, but only repeated pushes build unstoppable speed. The same is true in your mind. A single thought of faith can spark a shift, but only continuous faith reshapes the subconscious into a new reality. Every day you hold the vision. Every day you refuse to entertain doubt. Every day you act in alignment. You are strengthening the blueprint of your destiny. And slowly, quietly, but inevitably, the old patterns break. The subconscious, once your greatest saboteur, becomes your greatest servant, carrying out the instructions you repeat with persistence and conviction. This is why Hill insisted that success is not the product of occasional effort, but of sustained belief and focused action. Continuity is also where most people give up. They want results in days for seeds planted yesterday. They water the soil once, and when no harvest appears, they declare that the law does not work. But the universe does not bend to impatience, it responds to persistence. The field mirrors not just what you think once, but what you think consistently. It mirrors not just what you desire in fleeting moments, but what you believe day after day. Continuity is the proof that you truly believe, because if you did not believe, you would not continue. Your persistence is the loudest declaration of your faith. Louder than words, louder than affirmations, louder than any fleeting spark of motivation. Continuity is the language the universe understands best. Look at your own life and ask yourself, where have I abandoned continuity? Where have I given up too soon? Surrendered too quickly? Allowed resistance to convince me that the law was not working? Because the truth is, the law is always working. It cannot be suspended. It cannot be paused. The only variable is what you are feeding into it. If you are inconsistent, your results will be inconsistent. If you are unwavering, your results will eventually become undeniable. The harvest is inevitable when the planting and watering do not stop. Continuity ensures that the invisible becomes inevitable. This is why continuity must become your new standard. It is not about perfection. It is not about never doubting. It is about returning, again and again, to the vision, to the belief, to the alignment. It is about refusing to let setbacks break your rhythm. It is about building a life where alignment is not a momentary choice but a way of being. And once continuity becomes who you are, you no longer wonder whether the harvest will come. You know it must. The only unknown is when, and in the silence of that waiting, you grow stronger, clearer, more certain. That certainty is magnetic, and it pulls the future you desire closer every single day. Continuity is the bridge between the revelation you now hold and the life you are about to live. Without it, all of this will remain theory. With it, this will become your reality. And so the choice returns to you. Will you drift, or will you persist? Will you let the illusion reclaim you, or will you live as proof that the hidden path is real? The answer, as always, is not in the world outside, but in the daily choices you make within. There is a cycle that traps more lives than failure itself. It is the endless loop of resistance, the push and pull between desire and fear, between vision and doubt, between action and hesitation. You know this cycle because you have lived it. You dream of something greater. You feel the spark of possibility. You take a step forward, and almost instantly the voices begin. The voice of fear whispering that you will lose everything. The voice of doubt reminding you of every time you failed. The voice of logic demanding proof before it allows you to believe. And so you retreat, you slow down, you second guess, and eventually you stop. Then time passes, desire burns again, and you try once more. only to collapse back into the same resistance. This cycle can last for years, for decades, for entire lifetimes, but it only has power until you decide to break it. Napoleon Hill warned about this very trap. He described resistance as the invisible enemy of progress, the unseen force that convinces you to surrender your dreams in exchange for comfort. It does not attack loudly. It works in silence. It shows up as hesitation, as procrastination, as distraction. It disguises itself as logic, telling you that waiting makes sense, that the timing is not right, that you need more preparation before you move. But beneath all its masks, resistance is fear. Fear that you are not enough. Fear that the universe will not respond. Fear that if you try and fail, it will confirm every doubt you secretly carry. And so resistance keeps you safe, but it also keeps you small. Safe from risk, but also safe from growth. Safe from failure, but also safe from success. Breaking the cycle of resistance begins with recognizing it for what it is. You must stop mistaking fear for logic. Stop mistaking hesitation for patience. Stop mistaking distraction for balance. Resistance has only one goal: to keep you in the known, even if the known is misery. It whispers that struggle is safer than change, that suffering is easier than transformation, and until you see through its lies, you will remain trapped, running in circles, repeating the same patterns, convincing yourself that effort is enough while secretly staying in the exact same place. The way out is not to fight resistance with more struggle. The way out is to dissolve it with clarity, with vision, with faith stronger than fear. Hill revealed that definiteness of purpose is the antidote. When your desire is vague, resistance has room to grow. But when your vision is clear, when your purpose burns like fire, resistance loses its grip. It cannot survive in the presence of absolute conviction. This is why so many people drift, and why so few rise above, because most have never taken the time to define with clarity what they truly want. They think they want success, but success without a vision is just a word. They think they want freedom, but freedom without a plan is just a wish. Only when you decide with absolute certainty what you want and who you must become to claim it, does resistance begin to dissolve. And here is the paradox. Resistance never fully disappears. It will visit you again and again, especially at the threshold of your greatest breakthroughs. But the difference is that once you know its voice, it can no longer deceive you. Once you recognize its patterns, you can smile at it, acknowledge it, and keep moving forward. You stop treating fear as a stop sign and begin to see it as a signal that you are on the edge of growth. Resistance attacks most fiercely when you are closest to transformation. So when it rises, instead of retreating, you can remind yourself, this is proof that I am moving toward something real. This is evidence that the hidden path is opening before me. Breaking the cycle of resistance means refusing to let fear decide for you. It means acting in spite of doubt, moving in spite of hesitation, persisting in spite of uncertainty. It means remembering that faith is not the absence of fear, but the decision to walk forward anyway. Every time you do this, you weaken the cycle. Every time you choose alignment over fear, you break another link in the chain, until one day, the cycle shatters completely and resistance no longer rules your life. Instead, it becomes fuel, a reminder that you are alive, that you are growing, that you are stepping into the destiny you were always meant to claim. The cycle of resistance does not have to define you. You can break it. You can rewrite the story. You can step beyond the endless loop of trying and retreating, of desiring and doubting. And once you do, you will look back and realize that the enemy was never the world outside. It was only the voice within, a voice that lost its power the moment you chose to stop listening. There comes a moment when you can no longer deny the truth. You are not just a passenger in life, you are the driver. You are not merely reacting to reality, you are creating it. Every thought you hold, every belief you cling to, every emotion you allow to dominate your inner world becomes the clay from which your outer world is shaped. This realization is both terrifying and liberating. Terrifying because it means you can no longer blame luck, fate, or circumstance for the life you live. Liberating because it means you have always held the power to change it. This is the essence of Napoleon Hill's message, the hidden foundation beneath all his teachings. You are the architect of your destiny, and reality is nothing more than the reflection of the blueprint you design within. To live as the creator of your reality is to step out of victimhood forever. It is to stop asking why life is so cruel and begin asking what signal you have been broadcasting. It is to stop wondering why nothing changes and begin realizing that nothing changes until you do. Hill revealed that definiteness of purpose, backed by faith and persistent action, transforms ordinary lives into extraordinary ones. He understood that the subconscious cannot resist the commands of a mind infused with belief. And once you grasp this, you begin to see that everything in your life, from the opportunities that arrive to the challenges you face, has been summoned by the vibration you carry, not as punishment, not as reward, but as reflection. Think about the power this gives you. If your current reality is the result of past thoughts and beliefs, then your future reality will be the result of the thoughts and beliefs you choose now. You are not chained to the past. You are not condemned by old failures. You are free, in this very moment, to imagine something new, to believe in something greater, to live as if it were already true. And as you do, the subconscious accepts it, the field reflects it, and reality bends in your favor. This is not theory. This is law. The same law that governs the rising of the sun, the pull of gravity, the rhythm of the tides. Invisible, constant, unbreakable. But to live as the creator is not passive. It demands responsibility. It demands vigilance. It demands that you guard your mind as fiercely as you would guard your most precious treasure, because in truth it is. Every negative thought, every indulgence in fear, every surrender to doubt is a seed planted in the fertile soil of your subconscious. And the soil does not discriminate. It will grow weeds as faithfully as it grows flowers. This is why Hill warned so strongly about the company you keep, the words you speak, the ideas you entertain, because all of them are seeds and all of them will bear fruit in your reality. To live as the creator is to become conscious of what you plant. This life is not about escaping struggle entirely, for challenges will always exist. But when you live as the creator, challenges no longer crush you. They become tests, opportunities, mirrors that reveal where you are still misaligned. Instead of breaking you, they awaken you. Instead of defeating you, they refine you. And with each test, you become stronger, clearer, more aligned with the vision you hold. This is why the most successful individuals are not those without obstacles, but those who see obstacles as stepping stones, as feedback from the universe guiding them closer to the reality they are building within. Imagine the freedom of living this way, no longer tossed about by circumstance, no longer paralyzed by fear, no longer waiting for permission from a world that mirrors only what you believe. Imagine waking each day knowing that you hold the brush and life is the canvas, that whatever image you dare to paint in your mind with clarity and belief will eventually appear on that canvas in the physical world. That is the power Hill handed to you, the responsibility he urged you to claim. Not to wait, not to hope, but to create. And so, the final shift is this. Stop living as though reality happens to you, and start living as though reality happens through you. Stop waiting for proof before you believe, and believe so deeply that proof has no choice but to appear. Stop struggling against a world that is only a mirror, and start shaping the reflection by shaping yourself. Because when you live as the creator of your reality, you step out of the endless cycle of struggle and into the flow of alignment, where the impossible becomes inevitable, and the life you once dreamed of becomes the life you wake up to.